Hey team, this is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's topic I wanted to discuss how to overcome boredom with running. Running and training for any race, whether you're a middle distance runner or a long distance runner, it takes time. It takes a ton of energy to prepare well for middle to long distance races, especially long distance races where you're training for several months to prepare for maybe a 10K or a half marathon or a marathon. And it's very easy to get in a rut. It's very easy to get bored. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself what you're out there doing it for in the first place. What's driving you? What's your motivation? You're not going to run a phenomenal time, in the mile or up to the marathon distance unless you are hungry and driven and motivated to succeed and to do it effectively and to be successful. And all of us, no matter if you're a brand new athlete to the sport or you're a veteran, we all have experienced ups and downs in training. We've all questioned ourselves. We've all dealt with boredom and being tired at times. And it's normal to feel that way, but at the end of the day, you also have to always remember what you're out there doing, what you're out there training your butt off for. And the things that kept me motivated over the years was just if I, for whatever reason, was feeling tired or I needed some time away from the sport, I didn't have a problem taking a week or two off. Every time I ran a marathon, I would always take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month off completely, where I drink whatever I want, eat whatever I want, totally relax. That way you stay hungry. You have to sometimes take some time away from the sport. That way you recharge, re-energize yourself, and oftentimes you get more motivated, you get more excited when you have that time away from running. And we're all driven, we're all motivated to succeed at what we do, but there are times where you have ebbs and flows in your preparation, and you do need that time to be away from putting in miles and kilometers, doing the same routine every single day. Oftentimes the athletes don't always have other training partners to train with. And so it is a chore at times to get out the door and to do a long run by yourself, especially if the weather conditions aren't that great. I had numerous times when I was training in Colorado Springs where, I'd be out there and it's blizzard conditions and it's snowing out there. But I had to, get out, and I had to be motivated and to motivate myself to do what I was training myself to do. It's not easy, and you're going to experience some boredom in the sport at times. Always remind yourself of what you're training to do. How to overcome boredom with running. Mix up your training. Don't just run like I always talk about not just running long, slow, and easy for long runs. One way to overcome that boredom is to start, challenging yourself a little bit more in training during those long runs. Mix up your paces. Try different workouts. Do like fartlek workouts where instead of running 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy, maybe find run hard between a telephone pole and run easy in the next telephone pole. If you're out on a road where there's just telephone poles forever, or find something, some kind of object that you can sprint to and then relax, and then find another object and sprint to that. But mix up your training. Have some time away from running if you need to. If you're feeling bored with the sport and in terms of your weekly training, get in the deep end of a pull run. Try different types of anaerobic workouts or aerobic workouts that you can do where you're not running, but you're still getting a benefit from that type of workout. And pull running is very, very close to land running in the fact that you have that water resistance, and you can still focus on your form. You can, if you wear a flotation device, you can spend a much longer period of time in the deep end of a pool with not really much of an issue. You can sit there and run for a couple hours with a flotation device on. If you want to make it much more difficult and you want to do like a fartlek run or maybe some type of interval workout, you can do that without the flotation device, because it's so much harder to run in the deep end of the pool without a flotation device. Anybody that's tried that already knows what I'm talking about. But how to overcome boredom with running is to keep your mind sharp. Make sure you're listening to the right information. Listen to podcasts, runners. There's plenty of runners out there that have podcasts, and other athletes, and not only running related podcasts, but anything that interests you. Make sure that you're listening to the right information, surrounding yourself with the right people. Obviously, if you have athletes to train with or groups to train with, that helps a ton in terms of overcoming boredom, because you're surrounded by people that are possibly faster than you, or just positive people in general that can keep you energized and focused and accountable for what you're doing out on the roads or on the track. It's much more difficult at times to get out and train on the roads or on the track, or to do long runs or do tempo runs when you're by yourself. And I've been there too. And it's much more of a challenge when you don't have those people out there to hold you accountable. But it's even more important because it's up to you to hold yourself accountable and to maintain that motivation and energy over a long period of time, so that you can get to the start line of your race and finish that race with a new personal best. And just know that this is normal. Boredom occurs from the beginners to world-class athletes. I train with great athletes, sub 4-minute milers, sub 2:10 marathoners, athletes that could break an hour for the half marathon, very, very fast athletes, much faster than I ever ran, that experience these types of feelings. And it's very important to think long-term, write down your goals, visualize what you're training to do. Mental training obviously will help too in a huge way in making sure that you are training your subconscious mind to do what you're wanting it to do. We often get very caught up in physical training, and that at times creates that boredom, because we're just so focused on doing the same routine every single day. But if you change up what you're doing in terms of mental training, visualizing success, taking some time away from the sport if you need to, you can take up to a week off really from running and not lose any fitness whatsoever. It's even after 2 weeks, you lose somewhat, you will lose some fitness, but you can gain it back very fast as well. So don't be afraid to take a few days off if you need it, in order to maintain, your psyche, to to stay motivated. Again, a few days off completely will many times help overcome that boredom if you're experiencing that. Don't be afraid to change up your training either. If you have say you have a tempo scheduled and you just really do not want to do that tempo run, go out and cycle. Go out and ride your bike over hills. Get in the deep end of a pool and do pool running, like I mentioned. Whatever it is, but change up how you are setting up your training. If you feel boredom, if you are experiencing boredom and you feel like you're just doing the same routine and you need a change, don't be afraid to make those changes. And again, a few days off, or a few days of doing pool running, or a few days of riding your bike is not going to create any type of fitness loss from you. You're still staying active. Even a few days off, you're not going to lose any fitness. So don't overthink the process, for one thing. Don't, make sure you maintain your enthusiasm. Don't lose enthusiasm when you have a few setbacks or a few bad races too. Boredom is part of, again, I've experienced it over the years too, myself as a middle to long distance runner. But again, at the end of the day, I was always focused on what I wanted to do. I always would either write down what I was training, what I was wanting to do, or I would surround myself with athletes that could keep me accountable. Those are the types of things you really need to be thinking about, and so that you maintain that motivation, you maintain your enthusiasm for what you're doing. And watch great athletes. There's plenty of YouTube channels and YouTube videos out there. Any type of, for me personally, one way for me that I use to overcome boredom and to stay motivated, I watch Mike Tyson fights. I absolutely love Mike Tyson. I loved his tenacity and his razor sharp focused on what he was doing. And there's, without question, I think, other great fighters out there, great athletes out there, but nobody had quite that amount of mental focus and physical training and mental toughness as Mike Tyson. So, a lot of times I just watch Mike Tyson fights. It kind of revs me up and gets me motivated to get back out the door and get fit again. Even I mentioned in past few videos, I haven't run a marathon since 2013. I ran 2:32 when I was 37 at the 2013 California International Marathon. So I was 37 then. I'm 45 now, just recently turned 45. So watching those videos and just hearing from you all as well, when I read your comments, that fires me up. That motivates me to get out of the boredom state as well. So use whatever tactic you need to use in order to maintain your enthusiasm and to maintain your motivation. I love hearing from athletes on this channel and those that reach out to me by email. You all motivate me as well. So listen to other athletes, watch YouTube videos, change up your training, but just don't lose enthusiasm. Don't give up. And especially if you've had a few bad races or a few bad workouts, don't lose sight of what you're training to do. What you're training to do is more than likely extremely difficult. Know that it's going to be tough, but know also if you maintain your discipline, maintain your motivation, whatever it is you're training to do, you're going to do because you didn't give up. Far too many athletes give up when they were just a few races away or maybe a couple years away from achieving what they were training to do. And I can guarantee you, when I had those struggles with the marathon distance, and when I was told when I was a 2:43 marathoner that I should quit because 2:43 was not going to do anything on the national stage, that was told to me by a 2:16 marathoner, a former member of the Army World Class Athlete Program, who's very, very blunt, probably too blunt for most people's taste. But if I would have listened to him, I would have never ran 2:19:35 and earned a USA Track and Field Olympic Trials A standard time. I would have never made it to the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program. So don't let other people's opinions dictate what you do in the future. If you're a 7-minute miler right now, never say to yourself, "I'm never going to break a 5-minute mile." Or if you're a 5-hour marathoner or a 4-hour marathoner, never say you will never run under 3 hours for the marathon. Make big goals, maintain enthusiasm, stick with it, overcome boredom with the types of tactics and some of the things I've talked about in this video. And I hope it's been helpful for you. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, leave me a comment, send me an email, whatever best way is best for you in terms of reaching out to me, and I will definitely reach back out to you. So I wish you all the best, continued success in your training, whether you're training for the middle distances or the long distances, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.